Вражеского снайпера!
I think one of the main things that separates Battlefield 4 from all the other Battlefields in the franchise is the massive amount of only in Battlefield moments available. Check out this minute or so of clips that I recorded not too long ago, just in a few play sessions, showcasing what you can expect when you log into Battlefield 4. Just amazing. Isn't it weird to think that Battlefield 4 was actually set in the year 2020 when they released the game in 2013? That means that right now, this is what DICE, as funny as it may seem with the recent events with the USA, this is what they thought that the world would be like. And it's quite interesting to see really how fast time catches up with you, even when you're just talking about a game. It all started in July 2012 with EA announcing Battlefield 4 with the Medal of Honor pre-order bonus. The beta was to be available in autumn 2013. Not much else followed until some major teasers dropped in March 2013 with those 3 Prepare for Battle teasers, all of which got the hype train rolling, showcasing a sneak peek at the land, air and sea gameplay players could expect from Battlefield 4. They were planning to take the franchise to somewhere it had never been before, but unfortunately, it wasn't a smooth ride. Despite its rocky start, and we'll get into that in a bit more detail in a minute, Battlefield 4 was considered a commercial success, selling over 7 million copies, and despite that difficult start, it did develop a strong core community and still pulls in significant player numbers for a game of this age. Battlefield was famously banned in China soon after the release of the China Rising DLC. During December 2013, China banned the sale of Battlefield 4, requesting stores and online vendors remove the game. The game was apparently viewed as a national security risk and in the form of a cultural invasion, as the DLC included 4 maps on the Chinese mainland. During the first week of sales in the UK, Battlefield 4 became the second best-selling game on all available formats, only behind the Assassin's Creed game Black Flag. The game's sales were down 69% compared to Battlefield 3 though, with EA blaming the fall in demand on uncertainty caused by the upcoming transition to the new generation PS4 and Xbox One. Whilst that is a fair comment to make, I believe one of the main issues revolved around the technical state of Battlefield 4, with many game-breaking bugs preventing players enjoying the experience Battlefield 4 could potentially offer. Those technical issues did lead to some legal troubles though. Battlefield 4 released in a horrible state, we all know that, and those major technical bugs, crashes and glitches across all platforms and an endless pile of game-breaking issues caused many to find the game to be unplayable. I remember buying a PlayStation 4 specifically for Battlefield 4 back in 2013 and I couldn't even play the campaign, never mind get online. Due to these issues, law firm Holzer and Fistel launched an investigation into EA's public statements made shortly before the release of the game to determine if the company intentionally misled its investors. More class action lawsuits followed, however were dismissed soon afterwards. You can see the sort of hot water DICE has been in the past, or EA I should say, with things such as a broken game on launch. and this has often led to a slightly different approach with how games have launched and been developed over time. Now I hope that introduction was enough for those who wanted a bit more meat on the bone when it came to Battlefield 4. Really, you do need to know where the game started out and where it currently is, because it's a big lifespan. From 2013 to 2020, so much has happened, and whilst it might not be the most popular game now, at its peak, in around 2016, Battlefield 4 was an absolute juggernaut. That being said, this video is about playing Battlefield 4 in 2020, and I hope you've been enjoying some of the gameplay in the background. I'm going to drop you into a few different talking points now that I want to give my opinion on all these years later. I've played a lot of Battlefield 4, 2,500 hours clocked up across PlayStation and mainly PC on a couple of accounts, and I've enjoyed absolutely everything the game has to offer. There are a few things that I haven't put major hours into. I'd say I'm far away from reaching the potential fun you can have with infantry gameplay on Operation Locker and Metro, for example, and I haven't really got to grips with the jets, but apart from that, everything I've got hundreds of hours in, and I've absolutely loved virtually every minute. The first talking point I want to get into is the community test environment, and of course this links into Battlefield 5 because clearly BF5 could benefit from having a CTE. The CTE turned up in Battlefield 4 just after those legal troubles and class action lawsuits were made. Coincidence? I think not. The CTE was really integral to getting Battlefield 4 to the playable state that it was in at the end of 2014, I seem to remember, because that's when it really got to that state you could have a lot of fun in the game and you didn't have to worry about the massive game-breaking bugs. Essentially, the CTE was just another client where DICE would upload the build of the game, we'd all test it, and then if it worked and everything was fine, they'd upload it to the main build of the game, so you'd have far less problems. It's a more smooth experience, seamless transitions from patch to patch, something that Battlefield 5 certainly has not had. Should they reintroduce it into the Battlefield franchise? 100%. Is it needed with a game like Battlefield that gets updated all the time? 100%. Can they do it with Battlefield 5? The answer is probably no, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, let's talk about premium, and the premium model versus the live service model. I can't really say which one I prefer. They both have their benefits. I like the idea of having a game that releases with all the content and you don't have to purchase anything, the game developers then bringing you a few additional bits of content like new weapons, gadgets, the odd map, maybe a new faction, but in reality that's never going to happen unless you have massive microtransactions to supplement it. Battlefield 5 has a live service and microtransactions. Even that isn't enough to give us a lot of new content though, so it does appear, if history is anything to go by, that a premium model brings far more content, even if you do have to pay a bit for it. I prefer what we had in BF4 if you could guarantee me that amount of content. The amount of DLCs and maps that came with that was incredible. We had China Rising, Second Assault, Naval Strike, Dragon's Teeth and Final Stand, all with 4 maps each. We then had the Weapons Crate DLC with the Gunmaster mode and new weapons, Night Operations with the night version of Zavod, the night version of Shanghai was also tested on the CTE, I seem to remember, and one for Golmud Railway. We then had Community Operations, an incredible opportunity for the community to help develop a map from the ground up and see that experience from start to finish. And then finally we had the remake of Dragon Valley with Legacy Operations. A huge amount of content, absolutely tons of the stuff, and you can still go back and play that today on Battlefield 4. The UI and menu design in Battlefield 4 is really good as well, and I'm surprised to see DICE go backwards so much with recent titles. BF1 wasn't too bad, and I think maybe this move towards an application instead of battle log has really forced their hand in a lot of places, but Battlefield 5 is a disaster, especially on launch. The amount of clicks, as in the amount of things you have to click on in order to get to where you want to go, is just massive. Even in the loadout screen, it's 20 clicks to do something, and you can't do most of it in game either. You have to quit out and go through the menus. Battlefield 4 is where it needs to be. The aesthetic of it is perfect, what you see on screen is what you need. It's really nice to be able to rotate your weapons, look at the attachments, and just scroll through everything in a seamless fashion. Even unlocking something and have it instantly available in-game is essential in a game like Battlefield that kind of pushes you to unlock things as you play. Levolution was massive in Battlefield 4. I seem to remember when it released with the trailers and I saw Shanghai Tower collapse, and I think also Lankang Dam exploded. And maybe it was even Flood Zone, I seem to remember, the water just rising. I was so excited. That had never happened in a Battlefield game, and to be honest, I don't think it had happened in any other game at all. This kind of live weather, live map changing scenario was so interesting to me, and whilst in a lot of cases it doesn't really improve the map at all, it's just iconic and really significant in the Battlefield franchise. I think it made for some really awesome content creation and just moments for players on servers as well. Something that we really haven't captured since. We had a bit of it in BF1 with a couple of big weather changes and a bit of Levolution, but not really quite the same thing. If done correctly, Levolution is a 10 out of 10 experience. In BF4 I'd probably rate it 7 out of 10. Looks great, didn't always play great, but you can't always have everything. The vehicles in Battlefield 4, oh my word, they are so good. Some people even refer to Battlefield 4 as Vehicle Field 4, and I can see why. You come onto some servers and there are 10, 12 vehicles per team if you count the air vehicles, the ground vehicles, and in some cases you even have boats, proper attack boats, something we haven't seen since in the Battlefield franchise. Absolutely incredible. The amount of fun you can have in tanks, LAVs, even hover tanks on the Final Stand DLC. There's just so much stuff to master with huge skill ceilings. It's such a shame that DICE launched Battlefield 4 in such a poor state, because I think a lot of the BF3 players gave up with the game before it really got to the state in 2016, 2015, 2016 where you could enjoy tanks and reach the full potential of fun the game had to offer. A superb experience, even with vehicle superiority game modes, something again we saw a bit in BF1 but not since. Just amazing fun. Finally, we'll get on to a bit of a negative, really. It's a positive point in some ways, but for me it's definitely a negative point as a content creator. Battlefield 4 was one of the greatest games I've ever played. Probably my favourite Battlefield game. However, I couldn't stream it to people. I want to get online today and stream Battlefield 4, maybe not on this channel, but if I made a Twitch channel and did it there. The reason I can't is because of Battlelog and the fact that people can find the IP of the server I'm playing on and then DDoS it. This is why you never see your favourite streamers on Battlefield 4, and it's also quite difficult to get content for BF4, especially if you're a regular player, not only because you'll be banned from all the custom servers if you're a good player, but also you will get the server crashed by these annoying DDoS players that, I don't know, they just sit on their PCs year after year trying to crash servers. Not really too sure what they get out of it. This is why DICE, well, it's not the only reason, but one of the reasons why they moved away from Battlelog and we lost that community aspect. I'm sure the powers that be at DICE and all the brain power they have over there could come up with a solution that gives us that community feeling you get in Battlelog, but with significant improvements in moderation and servers that are secure and good for streaming. Even streamer modes where you can't work out where the streamer's playing, with no player names on the server like we have in other games such as PUBG, could be a massive improvement. There are reasons why people don't stream Battlefield, and there are reasons why a lot of Battlefield streamers don't get many viewers. It's a very difficult game to watch, and added on to that, it can be a difficult game to stream. Quite a negative point really, considering how popular games can be once they get that traction on Twitch. On YouTube though, Battlefield is incredibly popular, and you can see why. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I took a look back at Battlefield 4, one of my favourite games of all time, arguably the best in the franchise. It certainly does top the charts in some scenarios. It did also launch in the worst state any Battlefield game has ever done. So quite the bounce back, I think you'll all agree. Let me know your comments down below. Let me know what you think of Battlefield 4. Do you rate it like me, probably a 9 out of 10 game, or is it something you just never got along with? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.